Hey, what's up guys? BJ Dell back with a new Wednesday weekly art challenge review video. Last week's phrase was favorite movie villain, so let's see what you guys came up with. And also stay tuned until the end of the video so I can give you this week's word along with a special announcement. I'm really excited for this announcement, so keep watching. Alright guys, so let's jump into today's video. This is the weekly art challenge review video. Last week's word, or I guess it was phrase, was actually favorite movie villain. And I think a lot of people automatically went like the horror side of things, but honestly, just as long as it's a villain in a movie, it can be any antagonist character in a movie, it would fit. I was waiting to see if somebody did Farkas from A Christmas Story. That would have been pretty cool. Just anybody that's against the main character really can be considered a villain, so it doesn't have to be, along the horror lines. And there were some that were kind of mixed in, so let's jump in and see a few of what you guys did this week. There were absolutely tons of great ones. So first one up is Harriet, and Harriet did her own take on Pennywise the Clown. This was really, really good. I guess the closest I can think to explain it would be Pennywise meets Ronald McDonald meets male model almost, and I love this take that she did on it. It's super, super cool. Number one, kind of the painterly quick sketch style is nice without having the outlines to it. The shadows in here that are almost done with a Copic marker look really, really stand out. Same thing here, bringing them up into the face and kind of defining the bone structure and the cheek structure here works really well, and I like how that's done. Also, the hair just stands out. That color really pops, and I love how the shadows are done really loose here, along with the strands coming out here. You've got some of the red ones, but there's a lot of these yellow ones mixed in here for the highlights, and I think that works really well. Ties into the overall feel of the character. You kind of got this evil, almost frantic character, and it has that kind of madness locked into the style because of the way that the hair is done and that the way that the strokes are done too. So I think that really ties in good to set the mood. I love too just the additions of this red down here. Just kind of frames the character and sets everything out. So fantastic job there. Just overall great composition, great color work, and great everything. So good job, Harriet. Thank you for sending that in this week, and glad to have you as part of the group. Next up, we've got David, and David chose Lex Luthor for this week. And this one, another really nice painterly style one. I love the use of the shadows and the highlights here to kind of build up the bone structure and the face. The way that this brow comes across too, kind of has the eyes sunken in. The eyes look super realistic. This one immediately made me think of Alex Ross, which if you don't know him, I'll get to him in a second. So I had to look up to see reference photo-wise if something was used from Alex Ross on this, and found the design that this was referenced off of. It's actually the variant cover to the new DC's Year of the Villain. And this variant cover has Lex Luthor on it. And the cover was actually done by Alex Maleev, who has done a lot of work on Daredevil and some other stuff, but he's really known for Daredevil. So that's what the reference photo was used for, and Dave kind of put his own spin on here, which definitely works. But back to Alex Ross, if you guys do not know him, he came into kind of the public eye back in, I think it was 93, 94. He worked for Marvel, and his first book that he did was Marvels. I've actually got my original copy right here, and the best way to explain Alex Ross's work is basically Norman Rockwell for the comic book world. Just a very painterly style. Everything that he does just has that Rockwell-esque look to it. Just a master of anatomy, of composition, of lighting. His use of shadows and lighting is just fantastic. So if you guys are thinking about delving more into the painted look style, definitely check out Alex Ross. His work is just fantastic. You can look at some of his examples and kind of break down the techniques that he uses, to get shadows and highlights and just to make really realistic looking pictures. He is one of my favorites, so check him out. But back to David there. There we go. just a good job with the lighting and color and everything, and kind of wrapping your brain around this painted style, and it looks really, really well done. So thanks for submitting that this week, David. Next up is Jamie Ann, and shown some of Jamie Ann's work before, and honestly just a master of just mood and lighting and the overall feel to a piece. This is her take on the Xenomorph Queen from Aliens, and I just love kind of the almost yin and yang to this. So you've got one of the most iconic, sci-fi, but honestly horror characters of all time tied into this almost, model, beauty-esque looking figure, and I just think it works really, really well. The overall color palette is really nice too. It's a subdued color palette, so you've got this evil being just kind of tied in a little bit softer with the overall look of everything. The highlights down here in the arms, let me switch back to this layer. The highlights down here in the arms kind of define the muscles and the bone structure here is just really well done. And then the sketch look throughout the piece, I think, ties it in really well together. It's not, too hardline, and it's got a very loose, fluid feel to it. The one thing Jamie Ann said too in the post, which I did appreciate her pointing out, is actually almost a digital collage piece. The alien part back here was actually a separate photo that she had used for kind of reference that she then tied in underneath the painting. And this is done really, really well, really kind of masterfully, because it looks to be, all one piece. A lot of times when you try to tie in, two different photos or two different things into one and make it your own, you kind of have that stark contrast between the two. And she did this really well to where you can't even tell that, it's two different pieces together. It looks like all one single piece done by her. So I think that is fantastic, and I appreciate you pointing out your technique on this, because I think a lot of people can definitely take this and learn from it. So great job, Jamie Ann. Thank you so much for sharing. Next up is Matt. Matt did Bellatrix from Harry Potter, and
I'm not sure.
Okay, it was close to that, but and this one is really, really good. I love the kind of muted color palette here. Shows you too, you don't need just a ton of colors. This is pretty basic, and it's almost got a sepia look to it, and I think it works really well. For the character itself, almost like a caricature look. The head's a little bit bigger, but absolutely nailed the likeness. You can definitely tell who it is right away when you look at it, and just the overall look is great. He said that he used the pencil brush mostly for the design, and then used a textured brush for the overall background, which ties into the face here too, which is really nice. And of course pointed out that, hey, Procreate now has text, so I can add in text, and that is right, Matt. Everybody can add in text now, so it is a joyous occasion for sure. No more switching back and forth between apps, but this just kind of shows you that you don't have to go crazy with outlines, crazy with colors, crazy with shadows and highlights. Doing something basic like this with the color palette and the technique actually works really, really well and stands out very nice. So great job, Matt. Thanks for showing that off this week. Next up is Renee, and Renee's piece is Joaquin Phoenix from Gladiator, and this one's just fantastic. The likeness, once again, is just spot on. I love the colors that were used in the face, and the blending between the shadows and highlights is just super fantastic. I love this nice overall color palette that you used across here. The highlights here too on the chin coming down and around are just great, along with the back parts here. They make them really stand out, and I love the the attention to detail in the eyes. Makes it really realistic and really well done. Overall, I think the piece is maybe a little too dark. I would almost add some of these highlights here in the hair to maybe break it up from that background. He's getting lost a little bit too much in the background. Either that, or you could almost go in and lighten up the background just around him and kind of gradiently fade that out into the darker parts. So I'd like to see him pop maybe a little bit more, but I mean overall the piece is fantastic. Just the attention to detail and everything, and the outfit and the costume here too is just super well done. So thanks for submitting that this week, Renee, and appreciate you joining the group. We love having you. And then finally, we've got Jay, and I've showed Jay's stuff before. Jay is a fantastic artist and did Captain Hook this week, and this one just really pops. I love the use of shadows and highlights, definitely, you know, in the hair. It gives it a very three-dimensional look to it. They actually, you know, take up space here, and it just really pops. Same thing with the nose and the chin and the lips, just the way that the highlights come around and just really make the character pop. I love too that the shadows and highlights over here didn't go overboard, because Jay went crazy with the highlights over here, which was definitely the right choice. Since you've got the, you know, the metallic hook, you want that thing to really shine. You want it to read that it's metallic. So putting these super heavy highlights in here just really make that thing pop. And stand out. The other thing too is just the overall stance of the character. It's very dynamic pose. This is one thing I was talking about before with posing your characters and trying to get, you know, them not just to be standing with their arms down by their side. This one with the hook coming out at the viewer and kind of a backward perspective towards the face itself really makes this stand out, really draws the viewer in and makes for a super dynamic, interesting pose. I think Jay absolutely knocked it out of the park with this one. So once again, Jay, fantastic artist. Thanks so much for submitting this week. And those were this week's 6 submissions to highlight in the video. So thanks for watching. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. As always, thank you for watching. Thanks to all the artists that submitted designs this week over on Keep Creating. If you like today's video, make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell for notifications so you can get alerted when I post new videos. So last week's word, favorite movie villain. This week is GENIE. So let's see what you guys can do with GENIE. Are you going to come up with something original, something that is your own to make you stand out? Or are you going to go with, you know, the basic Aladdin or I Dream Of? Really want to see what you guys can come up with. So make sure you hop on over to Facebook to post those designs. Join the Keep Creating a Learn, Draw, Share art community. If you haven't already, the link is in the description below. We want to have you guys over. So now for the announcement, been doing these weekly art challenge reviews for a while. The weekly art prompts have been pretty big success, and I love seeing everybody's designs, but I know some people might not be satisfied with having just one word a week. The best way to become a better artist is to practice every day, and I know sometimes it's hard to come up with ideas, hard to decide what to draw. So I've solved that with the addition of this new book, 365 Days of Drawing Prompts. So this is traditional. It is a sketchbook, and it gives you a breakdown by day of what to draw. It's got your days up at the top and then your prompts down at the bottom. But there are 365 days of drawing prompts on this thing, and enough room to draw. I've seen some of these drawing prompt books before, and it's got multiple prompts per page, and you've got little boxes that you have to draw in. Nobody wants to be, you know, held down to a little box in the corner of a page. This is full-on, full-page drawings we've got going on here. So also in the front of the book, I also put a link to the Keep Creating page on Facebook to have people post designs from this book into the group too. So hopefully if this is a success, we'll have a lot of digital art from the YouTube prompts, but then we'll have a ton of daily drawings from this book as well. So if you guys want to know what's in here and want to post your traditional work from here on the Facebook group too, I'm going to put the link in the description of the video. This is available on Amazon. It's huge, super thick. It's only $13.99. And it's a labor of love. It took me a while to come up with all these prompts, and it's been a lot of fun. So really want to see your guys' feedback on this. So definitely let me know down in the comments what you think. Once you order it, if you do, let me know in the comments or on the Facebook page too. So appreciate the support and love having you guys a part of the channel and a part of the group. As for me, I can be found online, bjdell.com, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at bjdell. So until next time, keep creating.